Reading with your kids.
Oh my goodness, I am so excited. Come on in here, I can't wait. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast, an iTunes #1 kids and family podcast. And today we welcome a very special guest. He is a star of stage, screen, and television. But most of all, most importantly for this show, he's been a huge advocate for literacy, for reading, and he's introduced millions and millions of kids to the love of reading. Of course, I'm talking about the host of Reading Rainbow, Mr. LeVar Burton. Before we welcome LeVar to the Reading with Your Kids podcast studios, I would love to invite you to visit a very special website, a website that could really spark something special in someone that you love. The website, of course, is littlepassports.com/reading. littlepassports.com/reading. Little Passports is the perfect holiday gift for curious kids of all ages. Little Passports delivers fun-filled packages right to their door every single month. Packages that are filled with engaging, hands-on activities, interactive projects, and unique souvenirs just waiting to be discovered. Little Passports monthly subscriptions are designed to spark children's curiosity about geography, world cultures, or science. From exploring sea creatures in Costa Rica to building a Big Ben like the one in England or making an ancient Greek headpiece, every single month it's a different adventure that will fuel their imagination and spark their natural curiosity of the world around them. And what a great holiday gift. I mean, the curious kid in your life will be thinking of you every single time they receive the Little Passports package in the mail. It's the perfect gift for kids ages 3 to 13 this holiday season. Order today at littlepassports.com/reading. We're really excited right now. We have a guest who is committed to creating a world where every child becomes a literate, compassionate, critical, thinking global citizen. You may have heard of him. He's been around. Please welcome to the show, Mr. LeVar Burton. LeVar, how are you?
I'm well, Jed. How are you today?
I'm very, very excited. You have been somebody that has been on my TV screen, it seems like, through most of my life. First, of course, when I was in high school and watching you on Alex Haley's Roots. Then I was a big fan of Star Trek The Next Generation. And when I had kids, I became a fan of Reading Rainbow.
Wow, we've...
I've been stalking you.
We have sort of been there as part of the backdrop of your life, haven't we?
And yeah, and it's been fun, and I've been very impressed. You know, as I was thinking back when this interview was scheduled, I'm thinking back and the fact that a lot of the work you've been in, at least the work that I've been aware of, has been really important, at least important to me. And, you know, inspiring in a lot of different ways. So I was very excited when I learned that you have this brand new project called LeVar Burton Kids, and I absolutely wanted you to come on and tell us all about it.
Well, LeVar Burton Kids is the company that distributes the LeVar Burton Kids Skyberry service, which is a digital library. It started as the Reading Rainbow app back in 2012, and it was the Reading Rainbow app for a long time. We had a Kickstarter in 2014 that enabled us to really expand our footprint from simply an Apple app to a universal app that you can access on all Android devices. You can get it on the web, and the Kickstarter also gave us the opportunity to create a product specifically for teachers to use. As a digital library, we have like over 1,000 books, 250 video field trips, and on the education side, on the product for teachers, there are lesson plans and the ability to roster as many kids in your class, and so it really is a supplement to the reading that we want our kids to do at that developmental stage when they're just sort of cracking the code and becoming readers for life, right? And that's the point of both the consumer as well as the educational product, to really use the modern technology and the engagement factor that it offers us to connect with kids and then get them connected to literature.
That's really exciting. You know, a lot of times we hear people talking about technology and there are too many screens and kids are spending too much time in front of screens. But it seems as though you and your team have created a great way to take advantage of the screens and of the attraction of screens to get kids reading.
That's been a part of my methodology, you know, for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. Reading Rainbow was a television show that did the same thing. Used the engaging nature of television, especially during the summer months, coincidentally months when emerging readers, when they don't read over that summer vacation, their reading and comprehension skills suffer. The original Reading Rainbow was really designed to create what teachers know to be that summer slide, that summer loss phenomenon of reading and comprehension proficiency. And it just made sense to me that we might be able to achieve similar success with these new tablet, smartphone, computer devices that are so much a prevalent part of our lives.
Everywhere you go, you see, I see babies in strollers that are playing with some kind of screen. It's amazing. And that summer slide you taught. My wife has been a teacher for over 30 years, and she's a special needs teacher. And that's one of the things that's so frustrating is you work so hard, and the kids work so hard, and then the summertime comes and they lose a whole lot of what they gained.
So I just think it makes sense as educators responsible for bringing up this next generation that we work with the technology and not so much against it. You know, there was I remember very clearly there was a prejudice against television in educational circles right around the time we were creating Reading Rainbow that said that television was the enemy. There was an attitude that really excluded television from being a partner in the process. I've always seen it very differently. I've always seen technology as an important and an integral partner in the process of educating ourselves and our children.
Absolutely.
And the more that we can take advantage of the technology in a good way, in a thoughtful way, it just makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I hear so much passion in your voice as you're speaking about this. How did you become such a passionate advocate for reading?
My mother, Irma Jean Christian, was an English teacher, and then subsequently a social worker. My mom was my first teacher, and I was really lucky, Jed, in that I grew up in a household where reading was highlighted. We took 2 daily newspapers when I was a kid. I saw my mother always reading a book in her spare time. In her leisure time, she was always reading books and juggling oftentimes between 2 or 3 novels. My mom was a voracious reader. And so I grew up with that very important modeling that reading and literature were a normal part of human existence, an important part of human existence. And I know that indoctrination has had a major impact on my life, and a large part of my life and career has been trying to share that truth with other people, particularly kids, particularly children. I believe that literacy is the birthright of every single human being. And if you can read in at least one language, then you are, in my estimation, well on your way to being free, an emancipated human being, free of the restrictions of getting your information solely from other people. As as a literate person, as a reader, you can seek out answers to the questions your curiosity causes you to create in your mind. And there are no limits to what you can discover through the written word.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That ability to read really unlocks so many doors for kids. I had a discussion with my wife's best friend, who's the principal of an inner city school in Boston. And I was saying to her, I said, how can I use my educational magic shows, how can I use the podcast to inspire more parents, to inspire your parents to read more with their kids? And the first thing she said to me is, she said, you need to understand, a lot of my parents can't read. And a lot of my parents can't read in English. And a lot of the parents who can read and can read in English, well, they're very poor. They're working 2 or 3 jobs. Is there something on LeVar Burton Kids that can help those families?
Absolutely. LeVar Burton Kids Skyberry is all about fostering a love of the written word. So how do we do that? Well, we make sure that we have a variety, a real diverse library of literature, and then we categorize it in a way that enables kids to find stuff that they're going to want to read. I firmly believe that it is our passions that drive our reading appetites. And so I've said for a long time, if your kid loves superheroes, then buy your kid comic books, right? So we categorize all of the literature, the books, as well as the video field trips. We categorize them in ways that are easily identified by the kids. If you want to read about, say, dogs or horses, then you go to the Animal Kingdom island, where you'll find books about, animals and videos about animals. If you are more interested in history or science, there are categorical islands that it makes sense that you would want to navigate your way there. The interface of the experience is you are the pilot of your own hot air balloon, and out there in front of you are islands in the sky, and all of these islands are themed, and it is on these islands that you will find the books and the videos. So really keying into what a child is interested in and giving them an easy way to identify where they might immerse themselves in that subject matter is part of the key.
That's fantastic. Now, one of the things I did in preparation for the interview, I took one of your video field trips and learned how we print money. Very, very cool. Where was the inspiration for that, and what other kind of field trips can kids go on? We'll be learning more about LeVar's video field trips in just a moment. But first, I want to invite you to find out a little bit more about what my friends at littlepassports.com/reading have to offer for the curious child in your life. Little Passports, it's the perfect holiday gift for curious kids of all ages. Little Passports, we've said it before, they deliver fun-filled packages right to their door every single month with engaging hands-on activities, interactive projects. Kids love to be engaged, to be interactive. And they also have unique souvenirs, and they're just waiting to be discovered. Little Passports monthly subscriptions, they're designed to spark children's curiosity about geography, world cultures, and science. From exploring sea creatures in Costa Rica to building a Big Ben just like the one in England, or making an ancient Greek headpiece. Every month, it's a different adventure that will fuel their imagination and spark their natural curiosity of the world around them. It's the perfect holiday gift for kids ages 3 to 13. Order today at littlepassports.com/reading. Now, one of the things I did in preparation for the interview, I took one of your video field trips and learned how we print money. Very, very cool. Where was the inspiration for that, and what other kind of field trips can kids go on?
Well, the inspiration for that was, just my own curiosity, right? Just looking at the world and trying to demystify it for an audience of kids. Also, by highlighting real world experience, it helps kids through the videos. It helps kids find what their passions are. Sometimes we don't know what we're really passionate about until we encounter it, right? And it's sort of a light bulb goes off in our souls, and we get activated and energized. So I firmly believe that if a child is just exposed to enough variety of real world experience, they will find something that ignites their soul, something that ignites their passion. And once we've done that, then we just have to keep feeding the child more and more and more, and soon their own curiosity, their own drive, their own passion will take over, and they're off and running.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned earlier, you're talking about passion and igniting kids' passion, and you mentioned earlier about, you know, if kids love superheroes, buy them comic books. And one of the things that I didn't fully appreciate when my son was younger, and thankfully I didn't kill his inspiration, but he loved comic books, and he would read comics and read graphic novels and absolutely devour them. And it took me a while as a parent to really kind of respect the fact that he was in fact reading, and the reading that he did in comics was valuable.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm glad, Jed, that you were able to take a breath, right, and recognize that he was exercising his passion in a very specific way, in a very specific literature-centric way, and trust that his passion for comics and graphic novels would lead him to a life of enjoying the written word.
Yeah, and it certainly has. And there's some of his graphic novels that I've sat down and read, and they're over my head. I mean, it's very sophisticated. It's not the Archie comics that I read when I was growing up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comic books are quite sophisticated these days. And I say all the time, it really doesn't matter, so long as there is a gateway drug, if you will, that draws the child into the world of the written word. So be it.
So tell us how the Skyway Library works, because I know folks are going to want to check it out.
The Skyberry, it's a subscription. It's a couple of bucks a month, even cheaper if you buy it for a yearly subscription, and you have unlimited access to, like I said, over 1,000 books and about 250 video field trips. Certainly in the educational version. In the consumer version, there aren't as many books, but it's still a very robust library, and of course we're adding content to it all the time.
That brings up a question that we have lots of authors who listen to the show. Is there a process for an author to submit their book for consideration?
We have established a real sort of a process of curation where we go out and find the literature that we want to introduce and populate the service with. We work with publishers a lot, and publishers of all sizes. And you bring up a good point. These days, there are a lot of authors who are self-published and don't have a publisher relationship, and are looking to get their work, their IP, into a digital product. For those people, you can find us at LeVar Burton Kids in Burbank, California.
Great. Well, the website is LeVarBurtonKids.com. Folks can go there and find out about the Skyberry and Skyberry School. And if you had a favorite book, and one of the things that I love to do to talk about authors is ask them, what kind of conversations can people have after reading their book? Is there a book that that you think every family, I know that family and kids' interests are different, but is there one book that you think every family would benefit from sitting down and reading together?
I wrote a book called The Rhino Who Swallowed a Storm, a tale about a young rhino who is overwhelmed by the destructive nature of a storm that sort of runs through his village, and his response to the storm is to swallow it. And of course that sets up a series of circumstances whereby he needs to get this storm out from inside of him. And it is a journey that he goes on that's guided by in turn a spider and a kangaroo and a tortoise and a whole cast of animal brethren that help young rhino achieve a new sense of safety in the world by looking for appropriate help when needed. So it's a book that's written for children, but it's definitely for families. It's a story about loss and recovery, and I think it's a story that has value for all of us, no matter how old you are.
Awesome. We will definitely have to check that. Put that on my reading list. So if you're an art, do you have a new book that you're working on at the moment?
Right now I'm working on my podcast more than anything else, LeVar Burton Reads, where I pick a different short story for every episode and I read it. And I'm about to go out on tour with the podcast coming up here in a couple of weeks. I'm doing 8 cities this fall in the Northeast and the South. Washington, D.C., Toronto. I'm at a podcast festival, the Toronto Hot Docs, then down into Brooklyn. I do, Austin, Atlanta, Dallas, and the Philadelphia area. So that's between now and the end of November. LeVar Burton podcast live tour. Well,
you certainly are busy.
I like to keep it moving. I'm a storyteller, Jed, and one of the miracles of my life is that I get to tell stories from a variety of perspectives and points of view, whether I'm acting or directing or writing, producing, podcasting. I just love telling stories that, that bring us together, stories that help us embrace the complexities of life, and just stories that inform us on our human journey.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly glad you're out there. As I stated at the beginning of our chat, that you and the stories that you've been a part of have inspired me and educated me and opened up my eyes. And I'm certainly grateful that you're committed to helping to open up kids' eyes and to unlock opportunities for them, and also to help them build a more inclusive, loving world, and that's something I've been trying to do, and I'm so happy that you're out there doing the same.
I add my work to yours, Jed. It really is about helping kids and other human beings really realize their full potential in life. And for me, storytelling is an essential part of that process.
Well, we are happy that you've had a chance to tell this part of your story. I'm really happy that there's still time in my life for me to kind of figure it out, and and I'm happy you're out there telling us stories. And everybody, definitely check it out, LeVarBurtonKids.com. Check out the Skyberry, and also don't forget to check out The Rhino Who Swallowed a Storm. The Rhino Who Swallowed a Storm. LeVar Burton, thank you so much for being part of our show today.
Jed, it's been my pleasure. Lovely, lovely chatting with you.
You know, I'm always saying that you don't want to miss the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast, and you really don't. You don't want to miss any episodes of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. I mean, our guests are just simply amazing. Our next guest, Justin Swap, fantastic middle grade author. And we're also going to have Candace Cameron Bure on later in the week. So like I said, you don't want to miss an episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast, so make sure you don't. Whatever podcasting service you listen to the show through, make sure you become a subscriber, whether it's on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Podbean, Stitcher Radio. Make sure you subscribe. And we just found out we've been picked up by Himalaya. That's the largest podcasting platform in all of China. 40 million users. I think maybe 4 or 5 of them listen to it. We really do have a lot. For China, we have a lot of listeners from China. Not 40 million, but, it's about 40 or 50, and I think that's pretty cool. So, again, the next episode of the show, Justin Swap, Candace Cameron Bure is also going to be here. Be sure you subscribe to the Reading with Your Kids podcast. And also make sure you check out our friends at littlepassports.com/reading. We want to thank Little Passports for being our sponsor. Little Passports is the perfect holiday gift for that curious kid on your list. They are going to love this gift. I mean, with the subscription to Little Passports, kids get a fun-filled package every month designed to inspire their curiosity in science, geography, world cultures. It's great for kids of all ages. You can order today for those little people with great big curiosities in your life at littlepassports.com/reading. Hey, we also want to thank Mr. LeVar Burton for being on the show. Thank you so much for all that you've done to promote literacy and to promote reading. Make sure you check out his podcast, LeVar Burton Reads. I'm a subscriber to his podcast. I hope he's a subscriber to this podcast. I also hope you check out all of his projects, especially at LeVarBurtonKids.com. Oh, and we can't forget the most important person in this equation. That's you. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Thank you so much for letting your friends know about it. Thank you so much for those ratings and reviews that you put on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to, especially over at Apple Podcasts and iTunes. And of course, we want to thank you so much for always taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.